we are back here at Auto 060 Cristina Radio Network. I'm Javier Mota, and we're talking with Dr. Tracey Wilen. She's an expert in employment, and she has her new book, Employed for Life. And so, Dr. Wilen, thank you very much again for spending these first few days of your 2014 year with us, talking about your book and all the trends. So, thank you very much for that.
Oh, thank you, Javier, for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and so besides the book that, again, is on sale already on all bookstores and Amazon.com, you also do a lot of conference and presentations for actually car manufacturers, right?
Absolutely. I have, this past year, been to 26 cities across the United States, working with corporations and employees on career development and also women's leadership. In fact, some of the auto manufacturers we visited have been Toyota and also in Detroit. We've been in Chicago, we've been in Minneapolis, and a lot of the sectors that deal with the auto industry. Really talking about two things. One is moving women into leadership opportunities, and then number two is career development plans for people in the auto industry and other industries as well. Thank you.
No, thank you. And that's really important because, as we were saying before, I mean, car manufacturers are always looking for people. I mean, it probably wasn't the case when the finance their finances weren't doing that well 5-6 years ago. I mean, like GM and Chrysler went to bankruptcy and all that, but now they're back and they're like actually hiring a lot of people. Ford just announced that they're gonna hire about like 3,500 people next year. So people should start looking to that. But you also help the car manufacturers then to identify where people are, how to reach them?
What I do is really help two things. One is help individuals take control of their career planning. You bring up a good point about auto manufacturers are hiring, but they're also looking for smart people. The mediocre employee is somewhat passé. And the second thing I do is really work with companies and employees on leadership for women, different generations. There's 3 generations now in the workforce, which is very different in the past. And how do we embrace our younger generation and our women to make sure that they're progressing in our firms, because that's good for business.
Yeah, I mean that you mentioned something that it sounds very interesting. 3 generations in the workforce. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, young students and young graduates are obviously the force that are going to drive the industry for a long time. But there's also a lot of people with a lot of skills, like middle age, but then like people who's been there for a long time. I mean, they have the overall picture. So can you elaborate a little bit on that and how people can take advantage of that and don't be afraid if you are like maybe 40, 50, whatever? I mean, you can still be pretty valuable, right, to car manufacturers?
Oh, absolutely. We have the baby boomers, which is about today age 52 and up. You have Generation X, which is about 32 to age 52. You have Generation Y, which is late 20s and 30s. And actually in some industries, like the food service, I said there's even Generation Z, which is, the very young generations who work part-time on work permits. So if you think about it, they all have different education backgrounds, they have different technology backgrounds, they have different experiences. I encourage the people who are in the baby boomer generation, who have the most experience and knowledge, but they might not have all the technology skills of the younger generation, to sort of build those up so that you are very valuable. And for the younger generation, do a lot of jobs and skill building so that you can be as valuable as a baby boomer and augment those technical skills that you have.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough work environment, right? I mean, unfortunately, the whole economics here in the United States it's improving a lot. And still, unemployment is kind of high, but there's a lot of opportunities in every field, not only the automotive industry. If you focus on your skills and try to find a new way of using them, right?
Absolutely. Not only do we have 4 generations in the workforce, but we're also just very diverse workforce, much more than in the past, not only just through cultural diversity, but as I mentioned, education and technology diversity. I think the best thing that people can do is make a plan. You have to plan much more today about your career than in the past, because you'll be having a new job. Let's face it, the government says every 4 to 5 years. So if you're going to work for a long time, you need to make a plan about how you're going to really monitor your career and drive yourself to success.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, it's been almost an hour now that we've been talking to you about all these the things related, not only to cars, but in general through society. And one last topic that we haven't touched, related directly to cars and mobile devices. I mean, this is some area that has completely changed, I would say, in the past, 5 years, maybe since the iPhone came out. And when you think about that, I mean, like a car cycle, I mean, when a car manufacturer designs a car, the life cycle of that car is 7 years. So there's been a huge revolution in this field, mobile devices in the car, just in the past 5 or 6 years, right, since the iPhone came out. What are we going to see in the next 5 to 10 years? What's your prediction into that?
Well, I was looking. I love to go to the Consumer Electronics Show, and as you know, there's always so many new car things there. So I took a peek to see what would be happening this year. And number one, I think it's very interesting, is that the automotive wants to get more creative. They want to see how the creative community can add more features to the car. So it might be in the music systems, or it might be in the touch systems, right, the touch screens. I think we're going to see a lot more in safety, because, let's face it, we protect people after an accident, and now people are saying, let's avoid that accident, and how can backup cameras and crash avoidance systems and the cloud help us there? And I think we're going to see many more apps. There's apps everywhere for gas apps, buying apps, driving apps, repair apps. So I think we're continually going to see a lot more apps.
Yeah, and apps, and also, as you were mentioning, like all these new trends into cars that are almost self-driven. I mean, I don't know if you have had the opportunity to be in one of those, but for example, the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the new one, the 2014 model, I mean, basically it's like halfway there. I mean, the car has amazing technology that almost drives itself. I think Google and Toyota had something in Nevada program that they already have a car that it's self-driven. So that's another trend that we're going to be seeing in the next few years, right?
Absolutely. In fact, out by me in Northern California, we see the autonomous or robotic cars that Google and Toyota have done going up and down the freeways. And in fact, they already have permits, I understand, in Las Vegas for robotic taxis, and also applied in San Francisco. And a taxi driver was very concerned about losing his job because he thought he would have a job for life as a taxi driver, and now a robot might take that away. So autonomous cars is a big theme that I think we'll also see at the CES show.
Yeah, what a fascinating world we live in. I mean, like self-driven cars and all that. But maybe there's another job opportunity there, because I think there's going to be, at some point, I mean, and this is kind of joking, but also seriously, at some point we're going to see like lawyers, like, I mean, if you get drunk, let's say in Vegas, and you get into a self-driven car, and the car for some reason has an accident, who is responsible at that? So I think law, as always, finds a way to get into the new trends of anything, right?
Oh, that's right. For every new industry, you're going to always have adjacent industries and other types of jobs being created from the new industry. If you think about it, because Apple Computers out by me, how many jobs in the tech sector have been created because of Apple's creativeness? And we have a metric out here that, like, for every new tech firm, there's 7 additional jobs that are created because of that tech firm, which is pretty exciting, and every industry has that.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Tracey Wilen, for your time, and again spending our first show of 2014 with us. Dr. Tracey Wilen, you can follow her on Twitter, and Facebook, and Pinterest, LinkedIn, everywhere. So thank you very much again for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon again.
Thank you, Javier. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Bueno, esto ha sido Auto 060, una edición especial para comenzar el 2014, y nos vemos en la próxima edición de Auto 060. Yo soy Javier Mota, esto es Cristina Radio Network.
Este programa fue una producción de National Latino Broadcasting.